Hey, this video is sponsored by Surfshark VPN, and it's also spoiler-free. So Ant-Man 3 is coming out any day now, and one real hot-button issue that seems to have emerged around the film from the trailers and whatnot is M.O.D.O.K. This take on him, how comics accurate it is or isn't, who M.O.D.O.K should be in the MCU, yada yada yada. One thing I haven't really seen come up though is that M.O.D.O.K is already in the MCU, and he doesn't look like this. Well, kinda. In this video, we're gonna talk about M.O.D.O.K. We're gonna talk about comic book accuracy, and we're gonna talk about the way we've actually seen a take of sorts on this villain in this world, in Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And yes, I know nobody's quite certain of how Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fits into the MCU, canonically speaking, but the characters and stories we're talking about here come from an era when the show was still trying to tie into this wider world. And given the way Daredevil's been folded in now, given the heavy rumors we'll be seeing some of the S.H.I.E.L.D. cast in mainstream MCU projects sooner or later, that's not a debate I'm particularly bothered about for this video. So the point of this video isn't some canonicity gotcha. Hey everyone, Marvel accidentally doubled up on M.O.D.O.Ks. No, the intention is rather to ask, how can one adaptation, one quasi-M.O.D.O.K, prepare us for another? What can the way Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. deploys this quasi-M.O.D.O.K tell us about the process of adaptation, and the nature of comic book accuracy more widely? Back it up though, who is M.O.D.O.K? Well, he's a big old head in a small, often robotic body, sitting in a flying chair pod thing. He is a mental organism designed only for killing. The original M.O.D.O.K, and we'll circle back to what I mean by that, was George Tarleton, a lowly employee of Advanced Idea Mechanics, or AIM, who went through horrific experiments to increase his mental capacity. They worked, but the side effect was, yeah, big freaky head-itis. So M.O.D.O.K is a weirdo. He's a science experiment gone right and wrong at the same time. Despite the intimidating acronym though, this particular mental organism rarely proved to be an Avengers-level threat, and bounced around as a recurring mid-level villain for a few decades until the 2010s. At this point, after a few shenanigans, M.O.D.O.K was replaced by a new version of himself, dubbed M.O.D.O.K Superior. Original recipe M.O.D.O.K got transformed back into plain old George, with a clone brain becoming the new and improved big creepy head. There's also been a general drifting of tone over the past few decades. At some point, everyone seemed to realize that flying egg science man was an idea more silly than menacing. So new M.O.D.O.K stories slid slowly from kinda serious to less so.
Okay, stop. What is that?
Tis some kind of... That is a very big head.
M.O.D.O.K's been used in a lot of ways over the years. He's gone from mutated human menace to cloned identityless menace, and then cloned identityless goof, and plenty other variations besides. Different adaptations across the Marvel Comics multiverse and beyond, to cartoons and games, have focused on different sides of the character. But one tension a lot of the takes on the character, a lot of M.O.D.O.K stories come back to, whether played for drama or for laughs, is machine versus man. The meaning of humanity, the limits of humanity. Whether M.O.D.O.K's was lost in the process that made him a big dumb head, and if so, whether it can be regained. In a lot of ways, the M.O.D.O.K we see in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is unique. He's not George Tarleton, he's not with Advanced Idea Mechanics, he's not even a big goofy head. He's a Russian spy named Anton Ivanov, alias the Superior, who loves vodka and hates Inhumans. Nonetheless, this is loosely a take on that same character. After a bit of time muddling along behind brighter minds, here not AIM but Dr. Holden Radcliffe and his AI creation Ada, he finds himself transformed into a cybernetic being, a disembodied head wired into machinery. He uses this new status to menace the agents, controlling other bodies, other LMDs, and listen to how he describes his new form.
Destroy this body, sure. It was designed only for killing.
The S.H.I.E.L.D. writers even came out and confirmed that this was their take on M.O.D.O.K, the MCU's take on M.O.D.O.K, initially at least, because partway through, orders came down from on high that they were to stop, that Marvel Studios were thinking of using M.O.D.O.K in the movies, sooner or later. But looking at the Superior, once you become aware of the M.O.D.O.K connection, you wonder how you ever missed it. But just before I get into what I mean by that, a little PSA. M.O.D.O.K doesn't exist in the real world, but that doesn't mean you don't need to be careful when it comes to online security, protecting your data from computerized baddies, because not every cyber threat is this easy to spot. But you can encrypt your online data, protecting your information from cybercriminals and big companies by signing up to Surfshark. You can use Surfshark's virtual private network to safely use public Wi-Fi, for instance, which can be pretty risky otherwise, or you can use its clean web feature to block ads, malware, phishing attempts, and trackers. You can even use it to mask where geographically your connection's coming from, which means you can see region-locked content on streaming services without having to, fly across the world. As an example, if you live in the US and this video's given you M.O.D.O.K fever, you could use Surfshark to access the Hulu M.O.D.O.K show, which is really good, by the way, from your existing Disney Plus account. Just switch your location to the UK and bam, there it is. And I've got a real heck of a deal for you. Use my promo code GARBAGE for 83% off and 3 extra months for free. They also offer a 30-day money-back guarantee, so just trying it out is risk-free. Links in the description. Do go and check it out. Great product, great deal. Anyway, this guy, the Superior, right? He is M.O.D.O.K, or at least a M.O.D.O.K. After the real Anton Ivanov's end, he winds up as a disembodied head in a jar, controlling bodies. And remember what happened after the original M.O.D.O.K? George Tarleton tapped out of big head duty? A new M.O.D.O.K was born, a disembodied head in a jar, controlling bodies, called M.O.D.O.K Superior. Indeed, throughout the comic book existence of M.O.D.O.K Superior, head-controlling bodies became a sort of recurring motif, and that's this guy's whole deal. This is M.O.D.O.K. That being said, this also isn't M.O.D.O.K, right? There are a number of things that Anton Ivanov, the Superior, with his form designed only for killing, has in common with this comic book character, but also a pretty big number of very obvious traits he doesn't share, like the fact that he isn't a big dumb floating head, and arguably the lack of these traits is more significant than the presence of those common ones. To some, this counts, while to others, it simply isn't comic accurate. Who's right, though? Is fidelity about visuals, superficial details? If so, which ones? Because over decades of appearances, most long-running characters have changed a fair bit. Is it about something more nebulous, getting the spirit of the character right? If so, how do you begin to measure that? The twin elephants in the room here are that accuracy isn't binary, and that what constitutes accuracy is rooted in subjectivity. So I think in cases like this, it's more useful to reject that binary, leave this simple idea of comic accuracy behind, in favor of trying to look at the specific adaptive process at play here. Technically, the Superior is a composite character. That's the name given to characters made from mashing up existing ones. Think Bruce's dad in Ang Lee's Hulk, David Banner plus Absorbing Man. Think Whiplash/Crimson Dynamo in Iron Man 2. In this case, we've got a scoop of M.O.D.O.K alongside one of the lesser-known Red Guardians, Anton. But I never really liked this term here. To me, it suggests a direct mashup, like those amalgam heroes, rather than what I think we're seeing with the Superior. Less one existing character with another's features grafted on, than something new, something clearly drawing on forebears, taking certain elements, but only what fits the story they're in. Maybe we could term the Superior a partial adaptation. Maybe we should dispense of this idea altogether, and approach him as a wholly original character simply inspired by Big Dumb Headman, and less so by that Red Guardian. But either way, composite character, partial adaptation, or simply inspired by, referencing M.O.D.O.K, I think it's clear that none of these options lead directly to value, to success. We can get tangled up all we like in which part of this character's drawn from what source, but to answer the question of does it work, of whether this M.O.D.O.K adaptation's effective, we have to look at the Superior not in isolation, not compared merely against M.O.D.O.K, M.O.D.O.K Superior, that Red Guardian, but alongside the story he appears in. And when we do that, I think success is inarguable. See, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a show about many things. Across its 7 seasons, the focus shifts wildly, but there is something which unites all these disparate elements: the found family, the Inhumans, the robots, the Back to the Futuring. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a show about humanity and what constitutes that across genetics, cybernetics, across time and space and choices made. And at times, when this side of the show really came into focus, this exploration was compelling.
This is the nature of families. I have seen it countless times. People arrive, so we celebrate, and people leave us, so we grieve. We do what we can with the time in between, but the cycle is always there.
Which means you're not alone. You're a part of that cycle.
Like every other living thing.
The Superior, this proto-M.O.D.O.K, wasn't ever the best Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. villain. That surely remains Ada, my beloved. But he definitely wasn't the worst either. And most importantly, the Superior helped drive the show's exploration of humanity, what it means and how it's lost. Anton Ivanov was a purist. He despised Inhumans for getting an advantage, having supposedly unearned strength, and he hated and feared advancements in technology for the same reason. This is how we're introduced to the guy the first time we meet him.
The old ways are better. Simple. Man is the superior machine.
As his story advances though, as he begins to take advantage after advantage from the pages of the Darkhold, as he ends up a cybernetic being himself, with his fanaticism and hatred remaining as strong as ever, we see that like every other guy obsessed with purity, or every other rich prick crying about other people being privileged, the fanaticism was less about its ostensible targets than it was about power and insecurity. It turns out that the guy who hates machines while living in a submarine isn't so principled after all. This is a story about the transferability of zealotry, and the way that letting yourself give in to hatred, fighting to defend your idea of humanity from those that definition would exclude, ends up stripping your humanity away. While robots are becoming human, this human becomes a robot. The Superior surrenders everything in the name of that hatred, and in the end, the hatred's all he has left. Back when it was airing, I thought that was a neat place to take this character, now doubly so, and I think it also taps into a quintessentially M.O.D.O.K thematic vein, that it isn't the robotification of M.O.D.O.K that strips away his humanity, it's his actions, that the state of being a lonely, twisted brain trapped in a cold metal shell is more a reflection than a cause of this. The best adaptations aren't the ones which look most similar to their source material. They're the ones which best adapt that source material to serve a new story. This near-forgotten character, the MCU's other M.O.D.O.K, did that pretty well. So to just try and get ahead of all the post-release M.O.D.O.K accuracy discourse that will inevitably follow Ant-Man 3, because without spoiling anything, let's just say it looks like the cinematic version of this character will take a few similar liberties with M.O.D.O.K's original identity, I think the most productive thing to do when comparing the Ant-Man version with previous M.O.D.O.Ks isn't to simply label it as faithful or unfaithful, well adapted or poorly, but to look at how the divergences and overlaps with original recipe M.O.D.O.K help or hinder the ideas Quantumania is trying to explore. As the MCU expands ever further, we may well see more cases like this, where a new project has another go at a previously partially adapted character. But if this does happen, we shouldn't view this as some oversight, as a canonicity issue, and we shouldn't use some wrong-headed notion of comic book accuracy to approach it. Maybe it is a shame we'll never see anything close to original recipe M.O.D.O.K, George Tarleton's big weird head running AIM on the big screen, but, and I say this as a M.O.D.O.K lover, he was always a bit of a joke. Maybe this new take on M.O.D.O.K will use the groundwork laid by the source material as a springboard to greatness. And if so, I think getting caught up in divergences from the orthodox form of big dumb headman is kinda missing the forest for the trees. According to the YouTube bylaws, if you thought this was a cool video, you're legally bound to give it a like. And again, if you want a great deal on a great VPN, if you want to watch that surprisingly good M.O.D.O.K show with your US-based Disney Plus account, then go to Surfshark with my discount code GARBAGE. Otherwise, cheers for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and huge shout out once again to all my Patreon supporters you're seeing now, especially Ryan Emily.